morning, everybody. Welcome to a nice October morning here in North Carolina. Try to get a recording in before everyone gets the memo that it's time to blow some leaves around. So anyway, I wanted to talk to people because I've noticed a couple of things going on. Being a mental health nurse, it's kind of like if you have a hammer in your hand, everything looks like a nail. If you have a brush in your hand, everything looks like a canvas. Well, I don't think I really need to belabor the point that these are some challenging times that we're all going through for one reason or another. And I have a couple of perspectives that I've kind of mushed together into one. But one is my own mental health issues that have been going on since being a teenager, and also having been a near-death survivor back in 2005. And most recently, last month, I was in a accident on the interstate. I got merged into on the fast lane, spun me around 180 degrees and rolled me into a ditch. And you never really appreciate your corporeal existence until you have it challenged, whether by fate or by plan. But I also recently had lunch with a mental health care provider, and we got to talking and made me realize that this is something I probably wanted to bring to the front. I have something in my mind that I call my 2x4 proposition, and don't want to make it such a long, protracted discussion, but just kind of a bump in the collective consciousness of everybody, that you don't necessarily have to have a near-death experience to somehow, some way come to the suspicion, if not conclusion, that Earth is meant to be a laboratory, something for us to explore all the nuances that can be the human experience and emotions. The reality of it is that whether it's a simulation or it's a God-given reality, or somewhere in between, maybe this is an extraterrestrial petri dish that's been going on for a couple 100,000 years. Wherever you're coming to acceptance of this reality, I think it's important to realize that it is a classroom, and it's something that, at least for me personally, that I want to make sure that I convey. And again, I picked this up through my experience as well as during a download during my near-death experience, that when you're younger or you don't know any better, you think things happen to you. And I'm certainly guilty of that, especially in my childhood and adolescence, in that there was parental abuse. And there are many ways for the world to be, quote unquote, unfair. And, rightfully so, at that perspective of development. Why is this happening to me? The world is unfair. Other people don't have this issue. When the reality is we all have issues. It's just some of us are better at hiding it than others. But it really does handicap you because you're perpetually moving through the world with a victim's mentality, or at least easy access to that uh, that lens of perception as you move through the world. And by no means am I without my own, but it's there's now a check system that when I feel something, it's like, am I feeling this? And is it something that I want to respond to or not? But eventually you move through life, and I don't know if it's wisdom, experience, because you can have a lot of experiences and not develop wisdom. But whatever the triggering mechanism is, the you have that dark night of the soul, or maybe something that inspires some sort of satori on your behalf. An out of body experience, whether that be a remote viewing, astral projection, near death experience, spiritually transformative experience, a bad taco at the gas station, whatever it may be. But once you get on the other side of that dark night of the soul, there's some sort of epiphany that shows up, and you move from why do things happen to me to why do things happen for me. And especially for me in a mental health capacity, working in a hospital with people who can no longer be in public and seeing their moments of humanity and not, my own pathway and experiences have enabled me to have a sympathy and an empathy for their situation. My educational experience has allowed me to, as a nurse, not prescribing, but dispensing, administering some of these medications, really helped me because, in my personal opinion, you can't really provide a full spectrum of care, or maybe it's hard to convey a full spectrum of care to your patients if you can't bring that energy. Anyone can hand someone a pill and tell them to have a nice day. It's that energy that you bring with you that makes the difference. And if you have the opportunity to have a moment of peace, just remember that of all the times in the world development that you could have chosen to be born here, you chose now. And I believe that in order for you to be here now, you got to be a badass. You got to be a spiritual badass. If you saw the Disney movie Soul, you realize that you can't just get here of your own volition. There's kind of a benchmark, or there's a checklist. You got to be a little rough and a little resilient to even step into Earth as an existence, as opposed to any other place in the universe to incarnate. So to be here now and to have this experience, every single person here now is a spiritual badass. And some of them have chosen to remember it, some of it has chosen to not. You can't have a good heroic story without a good villain. And some of the best heroic stories are not about the hero's victories, but by the hero's experience, by the hero's battles. because even without a victory, there is still learning, there is still development. And so take a moment to remember that you are a spiritual badass. You chose to be here, and in some way, shape, or form, this is going to improve the scope and ability of you as a person, but also in your soul's development. Give yourself some peace, give yourself some grace, pat yourself on the back for being a badass. And then, if you have the opportunity, remind somebody else. It's always great to be a light in the world that can be so filled with darkness. But I know there are days that you just can't be the light. You're just, too much has been depleted. And if you can't be the light, try to be the mirror. Reflect that light that someone may shine in your direction. And it could be as simple as a smile or a head nod. But we'll get through this. We'll all get through this together. And I hope you realize and remember that yes, you are a spiritual badass. And I hope this finds you well. And if it doesn't, I hope wellness finds you. Have a good day today.